Hi, Al. How you doing?
I'm good, Adam. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy. So, I heard that you need some help on the STEaPP Chat thing. What's that again? You just remind me.
Well, STEaPP Chat is an in-house video production that we try to capture colleagues and doctoral candidates about their interests, about their teaching, and their researches about the wider field of science, technology, and engineering and public policies. So I'm coming up with a new season, and there's a lot of topics that I can choose off. During the pandemic, a lot of people were thinking about science advice will be related to public health.
Yeah.
But you and I know it's more than just health policy.
Mm.
So one of the area I thought we'd be quite interested to talk about is energy, because now we're all feeling the pinch of the high energy costs. So what do you think about that?
No, I mean I think it's a massive thing, of course, and it's one of these challenges that isn't just about the day-to-day, household costs, which for some people have been getting astronomical in terms of how much they're paying for gas and so on, but that then also impacts on our ability to address climate change and the climate crisis as well, because we've got to stop burning gas. And one of the big difficulties that gives rise to is when you're trying to think about, well, I've got a gas boiler in my home, right? That's burning gas. That's basically making climate change worse. What's the alternative? And the government's kind of landed on this idea of taking that box out and sticking another box on your wall called a heat pump, which uses electricity, not gas, although some of that electricity might be made with a big gas power station, but it's going to use a lot less gas if it does use gas, and it's likely to make much better use of the wind turbines and other kinds of renewable electricity that we get. And so, they're trying to push out heat pumps into people's homes, and you might have heard that there's a ban coming on gas boilers, I think in 2030, something like that. So they're not going to be able to install new gas boilers at that point. But the challenge for a lot of people today is, well, I can't even afford my gas bill, and now you want me to pay out thousands of pounds for a heat pump, right? And so it's a case of, well, I don't have the money on a day-to-day basis. How am I supposed to get that for a new piece of equipment that's meant to address these big ticket issues? And now they put out a kind of grant, so you can get £5,000 as a householder to fit one. But it's still not taking off, and and these costs are part of it, but there's a bigger picture there.
I guess it's always come to what we teach and what you guys research in the field, that it's not a simple answer, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know, but it's what's kind of curious is that you see a lot of commentators here talking about, oh, I just need to put some kind of subsidy out there. So it's kind of classic economic ideas of thinking, oh, it's a tax, it's a subsidy, that'll make it better, or it's a regulation. So I just talked about, banning heat pumps or giving grants out. And that's basically the two instruments that, when you think of economics, that they use to try and get change, but change isn't happening. So there's something else going on. And what I tend to think about is there's something about the engineering of these products, something about the design of them, something about the fact that, yes, they're very big and they're a bit noisy, and they require complex plumbing, and they require a cylinder, and then suddenly your whole home is being kind of transformed, and you're inviting people in, and there's a very, what we might call a socio-technical kind of challenge there, right? It becomes worrying, right? Not just from a financial perspective, but an emotional perspective. It's my home. It's kind of, I don't know what's going on. There's lots of risks. And so I think if we think about the design of the technologies, we think about the engineering elements of it, then that's really kind of central. And that's something that we're trying to develop within STEaPP, and my work, engineering policy, is a kind of label for it. And it's work that's going into research, looking at how engineers are advising government. Are they just advising them to sort of take big, sort of technologies that already exist, or are they helping them to think about new ways of configuring little bits of simple tech to achieve, benefits for different households in different ways? And so I've got a, PhD candidate, Laurent Liotet, who's doing research with engineers in government, others who are looking at how engineering design can create opportunities for governing, and to try and build this out as a big program with a small group that we're developing in STEaPP called the Engineering Policy Group, and hopefully be able to have a look at the website on that. And that obviously feeds into a lot of our teaching and research conferencing and all kinds of activities as well.
You talk about the heat pump. I noticed there are quite a lot of people talk about it, in Twitter too. Can you tell me a little bit more? What do you reckon? Is that going to be like a heat pump movement next year going on?
Yeah, I'm tweeting about it as well at the moment. Actually, it's just today. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I think it's interesting to see a lot of people saying, "Oh, you must have it, must have it." Kind of lobbying activity. And because these are sort of magical boxes, right, in some respects, they take a small amount of electricity to make quite a large amount of heat. But doing so requires quite a bit of technical, bits and bobs in there. What I'm not seeing is people people not really understanding what it takes to make that work in place. So you end up getting two groups of people: those who say you must have this and must have this. And then the other group saying, but no, we just can't fit them because we don't have the skills, we don't have the supply chain, whatever. And there's nobody in between just going, okay, how do we solve this conundrum here? And so what I try to do is to sort of open up the questions and sort of say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about a design that looks like that? What if we try, batteries and resistive heating as a kind of, ceramic radiators, and try and, load shift people from, nighttime charging up and then using that electricity to power your heat during the day, putting some more insulation in there. And then, that gives you benefits to the grid. You don't need so many power stations, but it also helps people if there's a blackout, right? You've got electricity to use in those circumstances. So it provides benefits. And then, different business models for how you'd get expensive equipment, but very simple equipment like a battery, which is just plug in and go, rather than a heat pump, which needs all the piping and all the kind of technical capacities to make it work. And, I think when people aren't really they're seeing the world from their own little angle, and they're not being able to come together and talk. And that's what we're trying to do, I think, at STEaPP more broadly.
That sounds really good, but it also sounds very complex. And I guess, there will be a lot more discussion, among practitioners and researchers. Is there any conferences or any future work you think you're going to be looking forward to this year?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so I'm part of an international society for what's called transdisciplinary engineering. And it's an interesting kind of bunch of engineering researchers based at universities who are trying to work more effectively with largely with industry, but increasingly with government as well, now that I'm kind of part of that group and bringing a slightly different angle to the usual private sector orientation that engineering has. And they're a kind of open-minded, group of engineers. A lot of engineers are open-minded, not all of them, and to think differently about their discipline. And to learn from the social sciences sort of background that I have, but also think about politics and policy and how, their role as engineering experts can play into that. It's an engineering conference that's coming up in July in Thailand. And then the year after that, we're going to host the Transdisciplinary Engineering Conference at UCL STEaPP over at UCL East, which would be really nice. And we're hoping to sort of badge that something like engineering in society or engineering for social change, which of course plays off the title of our new bachelor's degree, Science and Engineering for Social Change, which is another new development that I've been involved with coming up, starting this September. So that's going to be a new degree. Kind of the way I see it a little bit, it's like PP-Eng. So it's rather than PPE. It's bringing economics, instead of economics thinking, it's bringing engineering thinking to problem solving for policy alongside social sciences. So you're getting a proper kind of rounded picture of reality, if you like. So that'll bring out a new cohort, which will help this kind of transdisciplinarity to take root more generally. And of course, our MPA teaching is also central to that as well, right? So I'll be doing a new module called Climate Innovation and Sustainability Policy, because I'm doing a lot of my work now is on carbon dioxide removal technology and how we can design those technologies to be inclusive, to be simple, maintainable, deployable, scalable, without requiring big technical boxes that only certain kinds of corporations can deploy only if they get loads of money from government and extract resources from communities and local areas and so on. So how can we design it differently to get around all of these challenges? So yeah, a lot of activity coming up this coming year. Al, I mean, we were talking about STEaPP Chat. What do you think your first episode's going to be on? What do you think?
I think, Adam, we have just done it.
Mm-hmm. Nice one. Yeah, cool.
I hope everyone enjoyed this new episode of STEaPP Chat.
Until the next episode,
stay curious.